very pretty, James. I couldn't have done better myself.
Oh, thank you, Farnan. Yes, you students can learn a lot from watching us professionals at work. Come on. Let's keep him on a blanket.
He wants to see you.
He, Mrs. Hall?
Mr. Farnan. He wants to see both of you.
What does he want?
He says he's got something to say and it won't wait.
Now what?
I don't know. Mind you, Siegfried has been in one of those silent, uncommunicative moods all morning.
That means he's brooding.
You haven't been up to something, have you?
I don't know, have I?
We'd better find out, hadn't we?
There you are.
What's wrong, Siegfried?
Wrong? Everything's wrong. Oh, look at all this. Mess, confusion, chaos. Well, it's got to stop.
Well, don't look at me. You're in charge of the paperwork around here.
Oh, yes, we all remember the bloody awful shambles you made of taking care of the bills last month.
We're still on about that, are we?
No. Just no sense in raking up past grievances.
Well, you brought the subject up.
Well, the point is, you're never going to be asked to do it again. In fact, none of us will ever have to do it again. We're going to have a secretary.
Secretary?
Yes? Sound, dedicated expert who's going to sort out the mess you lot make of the business end of things.
And you have already chosen one?
Yes, I have. Her name's Miss Harbottle. I consider her to be perfect. She comes highly recommended from Green and Moulton's of Bradford. They say she's a model of efficiency. She was that company's secretary, no less.
Is she young?
Certainly not. Last thing we want round here is some flighty young piece batting her eyelashes at everyone all the time.
Well, why not, providing she can do the work?
If you think I'm going to have an attractive young woman around with you in this house, you're out of your mind. You never leave her alone.
I'm no worse than you.
It's you we're talking about, not me!
When do we meet her, Siegfried?
Tomorrow. She's coming to inspect the office. So I expect you two to give her your full cooperation. Yes, I have no doubt that she'll soon have this sinking ship on an even keel.
Shh!
Beg your pardon?
What's that?
God, what the hell is it?
There's a somewhat awful noise coming from surgery.
Of course, the dog. Must be coming out of his anaesthetic.
Oh, that's all right, Mrs. Hall. We'll deal with it. Come on, James, we can see if it's all right.
That noise gives me the creeps.
I've seen this before. General anesthetic does affect some dogs like this. Could be perfectly straightforward. On the other hand, it could be the onset of a much more complex reaction. We just have to wait and see.
Well, is there anything we can do?
No, just keep a careful watch. What a racket. Can't leave it alone. Somebody'll have to be with it all the time.
Well, I can't. I've got to visit the calf at Heston Grange Farm today.
Yes, not can I. Got a hell of a list this afternoon. Tristan! I've got a job for you!
Hello? Anyone at home?
Just a minute. Hello.
Hello?
I'm sorry I couldn't let you in. My hands were all covered in flour.
Oh, that's all right. My name's Harriet. James Harriet.
Oh, Siegfried Farnham's your assistant. Oh, I've heard all about you. You're the one who said Mr. Hanshaw's cow would never walk again, aren't you?
Bad news travels fast, I see.
Sorry. I didn't mean to offend you.
No, idle gossip doesn't offend me in the slightest.
You should be pleased. That little incident will keep Mr. Hanshaw happy for weeks.
Is Mr. Alderson about? I understand he has a sick calf.
Yes, but my father and the men are out in the fields. Can you wait a minute?
Of course.
I'll just see to the dough and then we'll be off. Oh, I'm Helen Alderson, by the way. I was on the bus the day you arrived at Darrowby. The calf is in one of the hill pastures. Look, you can see it from here.
I'll take your word for it.
We're in for a bit of a walk, I'm afraid.
Oh, I don't mind. I don't mind in the least.
Poor little thing. Misses his mother.
It's all right, old fella. It's all right. It's all right. Just easy, easy. How did it happen?
Fell down the slope, chasing after his mum. Is anything broken?
A clean fracture of the metacarpus. He should do well with a plaster on it. Could I have some water, please?
Oh, yes, of course.
Thank you. All right, old fella. Oh, try not to hurt you. That's it. Thank you.
Have you been a vet long, Mr. Herriot?
Not long, but don't worry. I'm sure I know enough to fix this little fellow.
Oh, dear. Have I said the wrong thing?
No, not at all.
I wasn't doubting your ability. I was just interested, that's all.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to sound prickly.
It's my fault.
Would you hold his head, please, Miss Alderson?
Yes, of course.
Easy, easy. Right, here we go. Sorry if it's hurting you, old fella.
It's his mother. She's been hanging around ever since the accident. She can't bear to be separated from him.
She won't be much longer. Come on, old thing. There.
It's marvellous to see a sick animal recover.
Yes. Yes, it is. I'll come back in a couple of weeks and take his plaster off. What's that mountain over there?
That's Heskett Fell. And beyond it, Eddleton. And the three to the right are Wedderfell, Culver, and Senna.
You make them sound like old friends.
I've known them all my life, Mr. Herriot.
Oh, you're lucky to live here. But I don't think you need me to tell you that.
A lot of people find it too bare and wild, especially in winter. It almost seems to frighten them. But I love it.
Watch your step, Mr. Herriot.
I'd much rather you called me James, Miss Alderson.
Only if you agree to call me Helen.
Agreed.
Keep an eye on the calf until the fracture heals, and don't let him run around too much.
Yes, I will.
Well, that's about it then.
Good. I'll look forward to your next visit. Thank you for coming, James.
Yes, well, goodbye. Helen?
Goodbye, James.
How's it going, Tris?
God help us, James! Don't ever do that again! Nearly killed me, you did! Any sign of it coming too?
No. And don't waste your sympathy on him either. Yowling apart, he's as happy as a sandboy in front of that fire.
He looks healthy enough.
Well, what about me? My nerves are shot to hell listening to that infernal noise.
You'll survive.
I mean it, James. Well, much more of it, and you'll have to give me a shot too.
That smells marvellous, Mrs. Hall.
Never mind food. It's what you're doing to that poor dumb animal in there worries me.
It's hardly dumb, is it, Mrs. Hall?
Call yourselves vets and you still let that poor brute suffer. I don't know.
He's in no pain, Mrs. Hall, I assure you.
Come on, ain't it? Come on, boys. Get at it, I hear. Have you seen if it's all right, James?
Yes, the side effects have stabilised. Just a question of waiting for it to come to.
Hello, Mrs. Hall, I'm here. In that case, someone will have to stay with it this evening.
Well, that someone is not me.
Oh, I don't mind.
Steady on, James. Don't forget we have that meeting in Broughton tonight.
Oh, it's tonight, is it?
Yeah, afraid so. We have old Reeves giving his start turn on sheep disease. You can't miss that.
No.
Come off it, Siegfried. You've heard Reeves lecture dozens of times.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it? Doesn't matter how often you hear the lecture, there's always something new to be discovered in it. Thank you. Pity you can't come with us, Tristan.
What do you mean?
Well, someone's got to stay with that dog.
And someone's got to eat that dinner.
I absolutely, categorically refuse.
Now stop behaving like a prima donna and sit down. I said sit down.
It'll only be for a few hours, Tris.
Go on, you go to your meeting. Who wants to listen to that old bore Reeves anyway? I certainly don't.
Aren't you worried about the effect that dog is having on Tristan?
It's all show, James.
Broston's the other way, Siegfried.
I'm fully aware of how to get to Broston, James. Cunning little beggar's just trying to worm his way out of an unpleasant chore.
He's had quite a day of it, you know.
So what? It'll teach him that our job is not all romance. Do him no end of good. You'll see.
Like a plaintive melody that never lets me free. I'm content. Tristan! Hi, it is Siegfried, Siegfried the Wanderer, Siegfried the hero.
Watch it, Tristan, watch it.
Sorry.
You're all right, Tris. Come on.
James, what are you doing up there when I'm down
Come on, the irresponsible kind of little... What an infernal mess.
3 tears for Siegfried.
Shut up, will you? James, you better get him to bed. I'll deal with him in the morning.
What about the dog?
A decent sort of a dog, that, when he's got his senses about him, I should think. Can't stay here alone all night. I suppose he'll have to spend the night in my room. Come on, Tristan. Come on, will you?
Oh, Siegfried, back already? Oh! Come on, Tristan. Oh, but James, I must pay notice. Come on.
Ah, James. A wonderful morning, is it not?
How are you feeling?
Marvellous, marvellous.
Tell me, how did the meeting go?
Fine. You seem to have recovered from last night's little do.
Oh, what's an ale or two to a healthy young fellow like me?
See, Siegfried?
He was away at the crack of dawn, seemed rather in a hurry to get that dog back to its owners. It came too late in the night, it seems. I do believe he's returned. Back already?
You cleared up that mess you made last night?
Don't I always?
You look rough, Siegfried.
Not a wink of sleep last night.
I slept like a log myself.
All that drunken stupor sleep.
Me
I warn you,
drunk?
You can't even do a simple little job without turning it into an orgy. I warn you. One more escapade like that and you're out. Sacked.
There's a lady for you, Mr. Farnham. Calls herself Miss Harbottle.
Ah, yes, Mrs. Hall. Show her in, show her in. Now, you two, you're about to meet our new secretary. Miss Harbottle, good morning.
Mr. Farnham.
Welcome to Skeldale House. This way, this way. Gentlemen, Miss Harbottle. My assistant, James Herriot.
Miss Harbottle?
Mr. Herriot.
My brother Tristan, the youngest member of the firm.
Delighted, Miss Harbottle.
Now then, Miss Harbottle, where would you like to start your inspection?
The heart of any business enterprise, Mr. Farnham, is surely the office.
Absolutely, absolutely. There you have it.
You call this the office?
Well, the nerve center, you might say, of our operation.
I see. And what, may I ask, is this?
Now, that is our ledger. And we enter all our visits into this from the daybook. Let's see.
May I see that also, please?
The daybook, yes, of course. Sorry. Oh, here it is. The daybook. There you are.
You gentlemen are going to have to learn to write. If I'm to look after your books.
Yes, I've had occasion to talk to them about that before, Miss Harbottle.
There are 3 different hands here, but this is by far the worst. Quite dreadful. Whose is it?
That one. But that is mine. I must have been in rather a hurry that day.
All your entries are the same, Mr. Farnham. Here. Here. Won't do, you know. I expect this is where you keep the stationery.
No. James.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
May I ask where you keep your cash box?
Ah, yes. Yes, across the hall, this way, Miss Harbottle.
I don't believe it. Shirley.
Well, we don't have exactly what you'd call a cash box. We just stuff it all into this.
You mean you leave that money there day after day?
Never seems to have come to any harm, you know.
Most irregular, Mr. Farnan. I trust the petty cash does not suffer the same cavalier treatment.
Petty cash?
You do have a petty cash box, don't you?
Well, it's all in this jug, Miss Harbottle, petty or otherwise.
Really? I don't know how you've managed to stay in business so long.
Exactly. It's a question I frequently ask myself, but you are going to put us on the straight and narrow path, aren't you, Miss Harbottle?
It'll mean a change in your working methods.
Change, exactly. It's what we need. When can you start?
In my opinion, Mr. Farnan, the sooner, the better.
Tomorrow?
As you wish.
Excellent.
Tomorrow, then. 9 o'clock, sharp. Good day, gentlemen.
I'll see you
And I were the only. Wednesday. Sitting room, Wednesday.
Mrs. Hall, isn't it? Well, please be careful not to touch anything on the desk or in the drawers. Otherwise, you may dust where you please. Thank you, Mrs. Hall. Mr. Farnan's secretary speaking.
24 hours, James, you know. That's all it's taken. And this whole practice is humming like a dynamo.
It's very impressive.
Call for you, Mr. Harriet. Mrs. Pumphrey. Sounds most upset.
Thank you, Miss Harbottle.
Do be brief, Mr. Harriet. We must remember that most of our business comes via the telephone, mustn't we?
Yes, Miss Harbottle.
Off you rush, James.
Oh, Uncle Harriet, thank heavens I found you in. It's tricky. He's desperately ill, and he's not flopbot again, nor at all like the time he went cracker dog. No, he's worse, much worse.
Can you describe the symptoms, please? Is he vomiting?
Yes, all the time. And his poor lungs, they're pumping away like bellows.
Right. Well, I'll get up there as quickly as I can.
Oh, you are kind. Thank you, Mr. Harriet. Tricky, darling, Uncle Harriet's on his way to see you. Oh, he's just tried to wag his tail.
Goodbye, Mrs. Pumphrey. It's Tricky Woo.
Ring Uncle Harriet up for a little chat, did he?
Mrs. Pumphrey did. She's in a terrible state, you know.
Really? What's wrong?
Sounds as if you've been overfeeding him again.
I take it you've warned her about his diet, have you?
Yes, frequently. Doesn't make a blind bit of difference, and I'm not treating him while he's in that house with her. She'd spoil him to death.
You know what, James? You should bring Tricky over here. Let him muck in with our dogs. Doing the world a good, you know. Spend a bit of time with his own kind for a change.
That's a brilliant idea, Siegfried. He might just give her the jolt she needs. Point is, will she let him go?
Take darling Tricky away.
I'm afraid so, Mrs. Pumphrey.
Oh, dear, no.
Desperate situations call for desperate measures, you know.
But we've never been separated. Not ever.
Mrs. Pumphrey, he is very ill, you know. He needs to be somewhere where he can have proper full-time care and attention.
Oh, it's all too ghastly.
Delay could be fatal, Mrs. Pumphrey.
Oh, no. Oh, my poor darling.
Try not let him see that you're upset.
Oh, of course. Tricky, darling. Uncle Harriet wants you to stay with him for a little while. Now, you'll be a good boy, won't you? Do everything that Uncle tells you. Mummy'll miss you, but you'll soon...
It won't be for very long, Tricky.
Stay with Uncle while I get your things.
I'll get him settled in the car, Mrs. Pumphrey.
Oh, dear.
Paulie, is he? The dog, I mean.
Yes, Mr. Hodgkins.
Reckon he's had his chips, do you?
That's a very sick dog, Mr. Hodgkin.
How long do you reckon he's got, then?
About a week. After that, he'll be as right as rain. You can have him back again. Isn't that good news?
Is the poor darling all right? He's not missing me, is he?
He's been a very brave boy, Mrs. Pumphrey.
Of course he is. Now, you've got all his things, his day bed, his night bed, special cushions, breakfast, lunch, and supper things. And his favorite shawl.
We have all we need at the surgery, Mrs. Pumphrey.
Not take Tricky's things. You couldn't be so cruel.
No. No, of course he may have them.
Thank you. Oh, Francois, have you brought his hot and cold jacket?
Of course, madam.
And his little rings?
Yes, madam. Everything is in Mr. Herriot's car.
Thank you, Francois.
Goodbye, Mrs. Pumphrey.
Goodbye, Mr. Herriot. Oh, it's all too ghastly for words.
Evening, Miss Harbottle. Yes, Miss Harbottle?
Mr. Farnan, for some days now, I have endeavoured to get you to spend a little of your time on this paperwork.
Yes, I'm sorry about that.
It's most unbusinesslike, Mr. Farnan. Scores of queries here need your attention. Could you please go over them with me
Well, I'm
now?
awfully sorry, but I'm afraid I'm late for surgery. The moment I get a chance, I'll deal with them. Anything else?
As a matter of fact, there is.
Fine, fine. I'll deal with that at the same time.
Chrissy, come on, Chrissy. Here we are, chaps. This is Tricky Woo. This is Tricky Woo. Now, this one, I know what you're thinking, but it is a dog. Aren't you? James! Mrs. Pumphrey again. Want me to tell her you're out?
No. No, she's been very good today. Only 3 calls so far. Thank you. Hello, Mrs. Pumphrey. Yes, Tricky is much improved today. Yes? Yes, he slept very well last night. Of course he asked after you. No, no, Uncle Herod has no complaints. Yes, yes, Tricky is being a very good boy. Of course, the worst is over now, Mrs. Pumphrey. He just needs a little time to convalesce, that's all. Oh. Yes, I will let you know the moment I think he can go home. Thank you, Mrs. Pumphrey. Yes, I'll tell him Mummy said that. Yes, goodbye. Yes, yes, I'll tell him. Of course, Uncle Herriot will tuck him in. Goodbye, Mrs. Pumphrey.
Uncle Herriot certainly has the bedside manner off pat, hasn't he?
Uncle Herriot will do you an injury if you don't shut up.
Wicked Uncle Herriot.
I'll just close it, Miss Harbottle.
I haven't got time to see her just now. James, I'm going to be late back. The
you mind awfully taking on the emergency calls tonight?
No secret, I don't mind, but...
And you've no idea what time I'll be back. Understand?
I thought I heard voices out here, Mr. Harriet.
Ah, that was probably me on the telephone, Miss Harbottle.
Morning, Siegfried.
Good morning. Ah, good morning, James. Anything wrong, James?
Looks rather peaky, doesn't he, Siegfried?
So would you be if you'd been through what I did last night.
Oh, I thought you'd be called out last night. Parsons' car, was it?
Yeah, got herself stuck in a cesspit. And of course she had to go into labour, didn't she? I've been up to my neck in freezing muck all night.
Ah, yes, I see it all. Dedicated young vet fighting against the odds, fearlessly slogging through hail, rain and muck.
Oh, shut up. Staff's arrived.
Speaking of Miss Harbottle, she's been trying to see the senior member of the firm for days.
See what she wants, would you?
Something wrong, Miss Harbottle?
He's been at it again.
At what, Miss Harbottle?
Mr. Farman! I know it's you out there. It's absurd the way the man always tries to sneak past the door.
Good morning, Miss Harbottle. Anything I can do for you?
There is indeed, Mr. Farman. You can explain why you have once more emptied my petty cash box.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, Miss Harbottle. I had to rush through to Bolton last night to see Mother. I usually take a little gift, and I suddenly found myself short of ready cash.
Really?
It's got into the habit in the old jug days. And as they say, old habits die hard.
Not to say bad habits.
Possibly. Wasn't such a bad system.
System! It was anarchy! The point is, Mr. Farman, how am I to account for the money in my charge when you keep on stealing it?
Stealing? That's rather an odd word to choose, isn't it?
You don't seem to realize, Mr. Farman, that money is not yours.
Oh.
It is the firm's. The firm's assets, Mr. Farman.
Well, never mind, Miss Harbottle. Simply go to the bank and draw out enough to cover the loss. All right? Good.
There are several other little matters while you are here, Mr.
Ah, yes, but I have a long list of calls waiting for me, Miss Harbottle.
These medical terms you use. Would you oblige me by writing them legibly and not please scribble?
Grab up! Come on, everybody! Come on! Stick to your own bowl.
My word, James, he does look fit.
He's been squashed and trampled by our lot, nipped by rats in the barn. He's having the time of his life.
How's Mrs. Pumphrey managing without him?
Oh, she rings on average about 6 times a day.
Uh-huh. You can't stall her much longer, you know.
Well, I'll give Tricky a few days more, and then we'll see. Hello.
Hi, James. Something's arrived for you. Special delivery.
Oh.
It's from Fortnum and Mason's. There's a card with it.
Ah, from Mrs. Pumphrey.
Aren't you going to read it out?
No, I told you it's from Mrs. Pumphrey.
Oh, James, really? Darling Tricky Woo and Uncle Harriet with love. Mummy's 2 favourite boys.
80-year-old brandy.
I say, James, you've struck gold this time.
Yes, there are 3 of those. Tristan? Port.
Careful with it. James, treat it gently.
Graham's, 1920.
All the more reason to treat it with exquisite care.
3 of those, too. Quail's eggs. honey. Caviar. Beluga.
James.
Truffles in aspic.
When are you taking Tricky back?
Oh, I don't know. Sometime after tomorrow night's surgery, I expect.
Seems almost a pity, doesn't it?
Yes.
Ah. I think it appropriate that Uncle Harriet proposes a toast.
Seconded.
To Tricky Woo. May his blood forever need enriching.
To
Tricky Woo.
God bless him.
Mr. Harriet, madam.
Tricky, darling, you're home. Oh, Mr. Harriet, how can I ever thank you? This is a triumph of surgery.
Francois.
There you are, my darling, your special cushion. And champagne for Mr. Harriet.
Madam.
Look at his
Congratulations, young fellow, my lad. Splendid achievement, really splendid.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you very much. Ah.
Oh, no. Francois, the big glass.
Mrs. Pumphrey, it's very naughty of you not to have warned me.
Well, you might have let Tricky know. Now, that wouldn't have done at all, now, would it? There you are. Now, drink up, Mr. Harriet.
Thank you.
Francois, madam, keep your eye on Mr. Harriet. See that his glass is always full and that he has plenty to eat.
Certainly, madam.
My most grateful thanks to you, Mr. Harriet.
Your very good health, Mrs. Pumphrey.
Oh, and Tricky.
Oh, Tricky.
Tricky.
Mrs. Pumphrey, what is that man doing?
Oh, dear, now, please forgive me. It's just Tricky's special welcome home treat.
Take away half the meat and all the cake, then I'll forgive you.
Of course I will. Now, my darling, Uncle Harriet says he doesn't want it. You must take that one away. Let him have some of that. Go on, my darling.
Oh. Thank you, Francois.
Mr. Harriet! Are you there, Mr. Harriet?
Yes, Mrs. Hall.
Mr. Dixon, Top End Farm. He's got a foal that's poorly. Caught itself on a nail in its table or something.
I'm half dead, Mrs. Hall. Isn't Mr. Farthing in?
Well, he's out visiting his mother tonight.
Oh, is he?
Well, you better hurry, Mr. Harriet. Mr. Dixon says that colt's bleeding badly.
All right, I'm going, Mrs. Hall.
Well, you're never going like that.
Oh, yes, I am, Mrs. Hall.
What, dressed naked with no proper clothes on? Whatever next?
You said it was urgent, didn't you?
Oh, well, you know that's what you're doing, Mr. Harriet. Good night.
What's good about it, Mrs. Hall?
He's here. About time. What kept you?
I came as quickly as I could, Mr. Dixon. How is she?
Well, he's lost a lot of blood. I reckon her neck vein's ruptured.
It's a nasty cut. What happened?
Well, it's the first time she's been away from her mother. I reckon she went crazy. You know, bang in and crash in round barn. Walcott's house she did. Any road. She got herself caught on the nail in wall there.
Well, the first thing to do is to get that bleeding stopped. You got any water handy?
Aye. It's cold, mine. Straight from well.
That's fine, thanks.
You reckon you can stop bleeding?
Yes. I'll ligate the artery and then stitch her up.
She's not lost too much blood, has she?
No, she's a good, strong animal. I reckon she'll pull through.
God help us, what's this? Folderols, is it?
It's my night attire, Mr. Dixon.
Saw a fella like you last year. Bradford Alhambra it were. Same suit exactly, with a striped hat and a cane. Did a champion little dance, he did. Oh, allow me.
Thank you.
It's not often I get the chance to help an artist with his costume.
I suppose every farmer in the Dales is going to hear about this little episode.
Well, it's not every day we get a Kentucky minstrel to help tend stock, is it?
I'm not here to entertain, you know.
It's all right, lad. Seeing you togged out like that brought it fresh to mind, that's all.
It's all part of the service, Mr. Dixon. Morning, Helen. Hope you don't mind me calling so early.
Morning, James. No, of course not. Just I didn't expect to see you for another 3 days yet.
Well, I was just passing and I thought I'd look in to see how it is.
See how what is, James?
Well, the calf.
Oh, the calf. It's fine. Plaster's just about ready to come off, I think.
Perhaps I'd better take a look at it, just in case.
Well, if you insist. But Father's moved it to one of the Ellsdale barns, about 4 miles from here. Are you sure you want to take the trouble?
Oh, I don't mind. If you don't.
Well, it's awfully inconvenient just now. I'm right in the middle of family breakfast.
Oh.
Would you like to come in?
No, I don't think so. Not really dressed for the occasion. Look, Helen, I'll leave it for now and come as arranged on Friday. How about that?
If you like.
Sorry to have butted in so early in the morning.
It is rather. And you are welcome to stay.
No, I'll see you on Friday.
Goodbye, James.
Bye, Helen.
Yes, you know, it's amazing what you hear on your rounds these days.
Oh, what's that?
Oh, old Count is buzzing with rumours. Something about vagrant minstrel masquerading as a vet. Some of the folks even think he was an escaped convict. Heard anything about it, Tristan?
Not you two.
Mr. Farnan, I really must protest.
Ah, Miss Harbottle, I was just on my way to see you.
I have asked you repeatedly.
Yes. Just 1 or 2 little points I wanted to discuss. First of all, your petty cash box. Now, it's a very nice little box, as boxes go, but the function of a cash box, surely, is to have cash in it. Would you agree?
Precisely.
Quite. Well, last evening I had a paying customer, too. In fact, they wanted to pay cash, and I had no change. And your cash box was quite empty. It doesn't look good, that.
But you removed the entire contents.
Please hear me out, Miss Harbottle. It is now the 10th of the month, and the accounts have still not gone out. Now, that is a very undesirable state of affair.
You have persistently refused to check them with me.
I've almost finished, Miss Harbottle. Believe me, it hurts me to have to speak to you like this, for I am, in general, most pleased with your progress since you joined us. But if you just tighten up on these 1 or 2 little points that I mentioned, then I'm sure that we shall have here a thoroughly efficient business. Remember, Miss Harbottle, efficiency. That's what we need to have here, efficiency. You agree? Thank you, Miss Harbottle. That is all. Pass the cheese, please. James. Thank you.
Biscuit, Siegfried?
Good of you, Tristan. Staff seems to have gone to lunch.